Kung Fu, martial arts, Taekwondo, Judo, Karate, Sistema. Kung Fu. This is Martial Arts Musings with your host, Dwight.
All right.
Okay, well, let's do it.
Let's get started. Welcome, everybody, to Martial Arts Musings. I am your host, Dwight, and today we are back at the Seattle Asian Medicine and Martial Arts up in Northgate in northern Seattle. And back on the show is Sifu Cashman.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome back.
Happy to be here.
So it's been quite a while since we last talked to you. So what's going on? There's a new article that you just put out.
I think new article.
There's probably like 6 months or 7 months in between these ones, I think.
Yeah, a little bit. The new article is in the March issue, so it should have just hit stands today.
Okay, and this is
in Kung Fu Tai Chi magazine.
Gotcha.
And the article is on some of the training that we do in the Kung Fu that I practice. It's called Strength of Bone, Lessons from the Angry Tiger.
Oh, wow.
And it talks about some of the changes that happen in your body through this somewhat rigorous training that happens when we train that particular animal in our Kung Fu system.
Uh-huh.
I approach the information actually from an Eastern medicine standpoint, with traditional Chinese medicine, and also Western medicine. We talk about how the bone actually remodels when you do this kind of training.
Okay, and how does that actually happen?
Well, so the bone is always changing in response to the stressors that are placed upon it. It's called Wolff's Law. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that we do is we stress the bones to be a little bit stronger and denser for the type of impacts that we find in the martial arts. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of you've probably seen before, a lot of Kung Fu's, a lot of other martial arts have things where you hit the arms when you train. That makes up a big piece of it. And another thing that does is maybe even create some microfractures in the bone itself.
Right.
When bone gets broken, it actually comes back and heals stronger than it was before.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah, that's why a lot of times you hear a lot of masters or other people just break the bones in their hands. It deadens all the nerves and then also makes all these minor cracks and then comes back a lot stronger. So you hear about bone density.
I'm not a fan of the deaden all the nerves part about that. So one of the things that when you do this kind of training that you should do is you should do the healing that goes along with it, so you don't have deadened nerves.
Gotcha.
You get all the positive benefits of having denser, stronger bones, and we thicken ligaments and we thicken the parts of the body that can be thickened, but you probably don't want to lose sensitivity in your hands. That's kind of important. And so we
or
do
anywhere else for that matter.
So part of the training that we do you should do the healing too. You should take herbs. You should moderate your lifestyle. Check out your diet. You should get plenty of rest. Drink plenty of water. Get plenty of minerals. Like all that stuff should go along with that kind of training.
I see. And how long, or what's the typical time frame for that type of training? So
years usually. I mean, you'll probably see benefit after 6 months. You'll certainly gain a lot of confidence. When we do sparring, we do talk about breaking. Just because we hit a lot of things and you get hit a lot, which is a huge fear for most folk when they talk about fighting anyway.
Yeah.
So you'll get some immediate benefit just from getting knocked around a little bit. But I think to see long-term growth happen, you'll have to sustain that training for a pretty long period of time, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years. And then you'll probably need to continue to do something like that, or the training, your body will remodel again, and it will go
back to wherever it was, or less than.
Or less than, yeah. That's the part. Not easy to tell, but
right. Okay. And so, what do they typically use for this training? So why do this training besides just getting really, really strong bones? Is it for sparring? Is it for just being able to take it? So
presumably, most martial arts. Not all martial arts, of course, but I think a lot of martial arts sort of come from an actual martial background.
Right.
Where peasants in China needed to be trained to go out and fight whoever the enemy was.
Right.
And so I think a lot of martial arts share that in common to some degree or the other. And I would say that this training is a holdover, maybe from some of that, where you had a legitimate interest in getting your peasant army to fight.
Take a hit.
Yeah, take a hit.
Yeah.
Firearms obviously changed
the
need to do that, but I think a lot of these traditions still kick around. I know a lot of other masters that do the same sorts of trainings, and probably for the same reasons. Yeah. Although I got to say, I hope none of my students are doing this sort of training to go out and participate in those kind of events. No, I think that Kung Fu is really about fighting your own demons and your own obstacles. And so it's kind of a metaphor at this point. I think there's also a lot of benefit in doing rigorous physical training because you grow a lot from it.
Oh, yeah.
You learn a lot about yourself from it. You learn to push your limits. And that's something that the martial arts does exceedingly well is it tests your limits across physical, mental, emotional. Fighting for most people all by itself is a very stressful event.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
People don't want to get hurt, and they don't want to hurt anybody. Those are huge obstacles for most people to have to try to wrestle with.
Definitely.
And so this training exposes folks to that maybe for the first time in their lives. We do actually hit you a little bit. We hit your thighs. We hit the inside of your thighs. We hit your arms. We hit you in the belly.
And so the article goes through all of this, like step by step, or
it's not a step by step. It's actually a big picture article.
Okay.
So the article talks about. I don't actually talk about the specifics too much. You talk about how it works and why it works, and then the science behind those changes and how they take place.
I see.
We explain how in Chinese medicine the kidney corresponds with your bones, the liver corresponds with your tendons, spleen corresponds with your muscles, and how they all interact from a Chinese medicine perspective. So we talk about how your qi functions and how you take herbs to modulate your qi to get those kind of results.
Gotcha.
We do acupuncture to this kind of training builds up stagnation. So we put needles in to regulate the stagnation that's created.
I see.
Because we don't want you to have a permanent injury from the training.
From just getting okay. I see. Well, that's very exciting. So, folks, if you're in the magazine aisle at Barnes & Noble or any other place, go and pick up your copy of this and check out Sifu Daniel Cashman's article. It should be in there somewhere, right?
It is.
Somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the magazine, that's right.
So what else has been going on? So we had, since we last left off, you had just put on an article. Has your team or your students been involved in any competitions over the last
The first one's coming up March 21st. It'll be Tiger Bomb up in Canada.
Canada, I recall.
We'll hit that one, and then we'll hit the Can-Ams May 2nd and 3rd up in Richmond, up in Canada, too. They'll be the next two big events we go to.
Oh, very nice.
So we'll see. What other news has been going on? Lots of classes, lots of training. We just did the Jiao class that you went to last year. I just did that yesterday.
I let a few people know about that one. I don't know if they attended or not, but...
In fact, that Jiao is part of to kind of reference the previous article, actually, that Jiao plays in heavily. When you do that kind of training, you get all those bruises. That's one of the things we do topically, is to treat the topical part of it, is we use that Ditta Jiao.
Yeah, to recover. So then, after you've taken all this very, very strong impact to the arms and legs and wherever else you
can still have a life the next day.
You can just rub that on and to go back. How long does that usually to get fully, or not fully recovered, but recovered enough to start doing something, just enough to...
Yeah, just a day or two.
Just a day or two. You should
notice a gigantic change.
Gotcha.
They when the students are doing that, they usually come here. We do it 2 or 3 times a week.
Oh, that type of training? Oh, so okay, I see.
They'll get some opportunities to use the Jiao. All my students know right where the Jiao is kept. As soon as they get injured, they go right and grab it and put it on. So,
I see.
It's good. We went to the Lunar New Year's downtown the other day.
Last
Saturday,
weekend. Yeah.
That was an awesome time. It was great to see all the schools out there doing their lion dances. And
was your team participating as well?
No, we did not participate. We went down there, supported everybody.
Oh, okay.
So we had a bunch of folks from our school. We had some of the kids out there, came out and joined us. Had some of the adult students come out there and join us. And it was great getting to see all the schools in their finery doing their thing. It was a lot of fun. It was at Mach Phi and Sifu Liang and Sifu David Liang. So everybody out there doing their thing. It was beautiful to see. The Wudang people are out there, put a great show on.
Very
so it was awesome for a lot of people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was packed down there. I was blown away by how many people there were.
Yeah, I think it tends to keep getting bigger and bigger each year, probably.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, keep building up that community around here, and get lots of people to go out. And I think the weather was pretty nice last weekend too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, so I mean, can't really complain when the rest of the East Coast is all blizzardy and under piles of snow, and it's like sunny and 50 degrees here.
We didn't do that Lunar New Year, but on February 6th, we did do the Lunar New Year at the Lake City Community Center.
Oh, okay.
Matter of fact, Sifu, David Leon came out and they did the lion dance. And then we did some Kung Fu demos, some Hapkido demos, some Tai Chi demos. Our Qigong teacher led the crowd through a Qigong set. And so we did that on February 6th. We had done that. So.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
April 25th. In fact, you're certainly invited too. We're going to do a Community Kung Fu Day. Our second annual
Kung Fu Day. So what is that? What does that entail?
So we invited some of our local friends like Fusion Kung Fu and 7-Star Women's Kung Fu and our guys and Sifu Azim's folk, Sifu Dennis Mace's folk to come out and meet at Green Lake. And we'll start off with a little run around the lake and we'll do a couple hours of training out there in the grass.
Oh, very nice.
We had a great time last year. Had a couple of schools showed up and we all just sort of did some community training, ran them through. We did a run, did some line drills, did some kicks and punches, brought out all the pads. Yep. And I actually tested 2 of my students out there during that too.
Oh, nice.
So it was a good time, and I'm looking forward to doing it again this year.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Come out there and do some Muay Thai and some Savate with us.
I'll see what I can do. See if I'm back in town. I might be out of town at that point.
I noticed that you're quite a traveler.
I travel a lot. It's bizarre.
That's good.
It's fun.
Young men should go travel.
Yeah. So I was actually out of town last weekend, but celebrated the New Year down in New Orleans. So so that was fun. But to get back to where you guys were at, I did notice you did start offering Tai Chi fan classes.
Yeah, we just started Tai Chi fan.
Tell us a little bit about that.
We just started Tai Chi fan on Friday. In fact. So Tai Chi traditionally has the 5 weapons in it: sword, saber, fan, staff, and spear. I guess are the more traditional sort of Tai Chi weapons. So this is the first time I've taught the fan class. So we'll see how it goes. When I learned it, my teacher taught it in 16 hours. I'm trying to do it in 8.
Oh, wow. So trying to
see if we can't streamline it a little bit and just see what happens. We talked to everybody. I told them we're trying kind of an experiment. And we'll see. The Tai Chi fan form is pretty fun. It's supposed to be reminiscent of a dragon. It's supposed to be kind of fluid and quick and graceful looking. It's a very beautiful form. It's a fairly short form. It's about a minute, maybe,
to go through the
whole form.
How does that go against some of the other weapons?
Some of the weapons forms can get long.
Like
couple minutes, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. I see. They can be long. But the sword form, Tai Chi sword form is long. Actually I don't know, but a couple minutes maybe. But the fan form is pretty quick. For most people, the fan the biggest thing with the fan is going to be opening it and closing it. Right. And so in the first couple of classes, everybody and it drops right on the floor. So you get to watch everybody drop their fans for an hour.
Oh, nice.
And it's fun. Most of the people in that class are students, long-term students of mine.
Oh, I see.
But I don't think you need to necessarily have some great background in Tai Chi to take the fan class.
I see.
We're doing it for fun. Unlike the sword and the saber, which I think are very, very serious forms.
I see.
The fan I find to be a much more lighthearted form. And I think it's more for fun and more for show. Of course, you could apply Tai Chi principles to anything.
Right.
In my mind, I feel like the fan form is a little bit more whimsical than the.
Well, someone could just go up and rip it, right? Unlike a sword or something of that nature, right? So.
It's true. And the sword you can't fan yourself with.
Yeah, you can't. It'd be difficult, and you might, cut yourself.
We do the fan. We do Tai Chi all the time. I teach, I don't know, 5 or 6, 7 Tai Chi classes a week. So we do a lot of different. We do push hands, and we do the short form. My teacher is at SAMA right now teaching the long form class. We started in October.
I see. So how often do you do these kind of short-term,
I do seminar type stuff. I do a couple a year.
Okay, of the weapon Tai Chi.
Yeah, I've done the fan now, and last year I did sword. And we do a couple other seminar stuff. I have a class I teach called Introduction to Tai Chi. Right. And in that class, we talk about some of the theory like yin yang, 5 elements, and we talk a little bit more about the theoretical underpinnings.
I see.
And the reason I started teaching that was it's hard to get that in our group classes.
Yeah.
And so it was I wanted to try kind of just having a couple hours we could just talk about some of the underpinnings of what we do.
I see.
And so it's kind of how that one came about. But yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Which is your favorite to teach?
That kind of changes. Right now, I'm really into a push hands phase,
Okay. Yeah.
I'm very excited to touch hands with folks at this point. Last fall, a good friend of mine, Sifu Julian Gregory, who came out and taught us a whole weekend seminar on push hands. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, nice.
I learned a lot of cool things from him, and so I'm in a mode right now where I'm just trying to improve my skill with that a little bit, improve my sensitivity with that. Yeah. So that's kind of on my mind.
Very cool.
And Tai Chi is, I know it's hard to think about mastering Tai Chi. All we do is try to get a little better every time we do it.
Yeah.
And, the Kung Fu I teach is really simple.
Yeah.
A couple of years, 5-6 years, you pretty much got it. I don't have any special things. A couple of years, you got it. Yeah. But Tai Chi, it's difficult to see when mastery comes.
Right.
It's so deep, it's so complicated, it's so subtle, and just when you think you start to feel like you know something, and then, oh man, I don't really know anything.
Yeah. Oh no. That's why people practice it for
forever.
Yeah, they just keep on practicing. So
my teacher will, I'll do a thing with him for the last, 2 years maybe.
Yeah.
And I think I got some posture right, and he'll come up and say, "Oh no, do it like this." Yeah. So, I get it now. It's just that 2 inches over makes all the difference. I get it. Thank you. And so it's interesting. It's always humbling to do Tai Chi.
Yeah. I'm definitely sure. I have never done it. Well, really. I think I've watched a few videos at some point in time.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's not just calisthenics for old people.
Right.
There's a lot
it's not the old.
Yeah.
Even though I think it is calisthenics for old people in some countries.
It is, but there's a rich tradition of awareness
definitely.
that happens through Tai Chi, and it informs and enhances every other thing that I do in my life. To take those principles and bring it to the Kung Fu is something I lit onto years ago to see the connections in there.
Yeah.
And to see how my own body gets stronger and more grounded and more sensitive just in my regular daily life walking down the street. And the Kung Fu gave me the skill that when I trip on the ground and fall, I don't hurt myself, but Tai Chi gave me the skill that I don't trip and fall.
Right.
So a lot of respect for the Tai Chi.
Yeah, Tai Chi is very interesting art. There's lots and lots written on it. I saw there's a guy from Harvard, I think he was a doctor, wrote about the health benefits, printed in the Harvard Press or medical school press, and about all the, kind of getting rid of some of the, coming down from the philosophical stuff and just coming down to the actual benefits and some of the,
Absolutely. I just read a great study on Tai Chi's treating Parkinson's disease.
Oh yeah.
And that was New England Journal of Medicine that was published in.
Yeah.
I think it was in the journal.
So Tai Chi, like I need to take it at some point because eventually it's gonna, doing all this Muay Thai, it's just gonna not be happening because it's just gonna take its toll on my body.
Remember, if you hurt yourself, you got to heal it too.
Exactly.
You gotta make it stronger and healthier, and inflammation causes a lot of problems. So make sure you treat it.
Yeah. Luckily, I've been pretty good so far. So.
Well, excellent.
But any other seminars coming up that we should know about, listeners should know about?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. We do things all the time.
Right.
There's always something
always a
going
seminar,
on.
something going on.
Always something going on. Spring is a time for the Tui Na. So we do a lot of classes on the Chinese medicine body work, which is one of my specialties.
So can you explain to us what Tui Na is?
Tui Na is just massage, but it's a therapeutic body work that's part of traditional Chinese medicine. So TCM has 3 big branches. One of them is acupuncture. That's the ones that all the Americans know about.
Right.
Chinese herbs is the second pillar, and then Tui Na is the third pillar. It's the physical medicine. It's the massage part of it, the body work part of it. Yeah. It's what I specialize in is the Tui Na. So I teach Tui Na. I teach a monthly Tui Na seminar at SAMA. It's the third Saturday of every month, but that's really for licensed healthcare practitioners like acupuncturists or MDs or LMPs, stuff like that. But I also teach Tui Na at all the local massage schools. So Bellevue Massage, Northwest Academy, the Healing Arts, Evers College. I'll be in Arlington next month teaching Toi Na at the Denton Massage School in Arlington. So I found a niche a couple of years ago in the massage world doing Toi Na. So the spring is a good time for that, for me to do that.
Gotcha. And then you kind of try to put them all together, all three of those pillars? Or do you really just concentrate on the Toi Na and the medicine?
They all come together for me. They in China, they're a little bit more segmented.
Okay.
But it's common in America for herbs and acupuncture to be done in the same visits. That's pretty common here. And because I do the bodywork piece, we often do that as a third pillar. So it's not unusual. A patient comes in, we'll do an intake, I'll put some needles in, and then while they're sitting on the table with the needles, I'll go make them some herbs. And then when I come back in, I'll pull the needles and do some body work. That's a pretty common way I see patients.
Nice. Yeah.
Everybody's different. Not everybody gets all three of those at any given thing. But it's not unusual.
Very cool. So you hear that, folks? After rigorous amounts of martial arts, go and heal up, recover. Very important process, I believe, and you believe as well.
Absolutely. Stay healthy. If you don't treat the acute injuries, they become chronic injuries.
Right.
And then they change your whole life.
Then you might not even be doing martial arts anymore.
True. That's it.
All right. Well, we can cut this one here. We're sitting about 20 minutes, so that's a good size interview.
How the time flies.
No, I mean, it just kind of goes, right? So you just kind of talk, and you're already there.
Terabytes of data just pile up.
Oh, I know. So probably what we'll do in the future is maybe you and your students can, do some demonstrations.
Oh, yeah,
we'll throw
absolutely.
it on YouTube.
We'd love to do that.
And then we can... we'll record it, and then me and you can sit down, watch it, break it down.
Yeah, I love that. That was really cool. Oh. Although I don't understand the video of the three segments. Why I don't get the artsy filter.
Oh, the arts. I put that on because I didn't want to have to go and get waiver notices for all the kids.
Oh, okay.
So that's the reason why I did that for all those videos, because I talked with Master Ling, and he's just like, that's fine, because what we really want to concentrate on just the martial arts, and so I threw the filter on, so then you can't pick up the kids' faces, and we don't want weirdos going out there, and then the whole trying to get their permission to post something publicly, and I didn't want to deal with it, so might as well just mask them all and
that makes sense.
way. Yeah. So I mean, we can. And, it just looked kind of fun, so tested that one out. But, we can do it differently depending on what you want to do. But.
Well, all my students have video waivers signed.
Oh, okay. Automatically, you're like, if you join this, I'm going to be taking video of you, and I'm going to be posting it on YouTube, Dailymotion, Vimeo, any of those.
That's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again for being a part of this. People, go and check out Kung Fu...
Tai Chi Magazine.
Tai Chi Magazine. Check out the article. Come to Northern Seattle. Take a class. Take the Tai Chi fan class. Take any class here.
That's it. And get acupuncture, too. It's good.
And get acupuncture. Get recovered.
That's it. We'll have to do a video next of you getting some acupuncture to post.
Oh, my goodness. Show all the various recovery methods for the martial arts. We can definitely do that as well.
That would be a fun episode. You got it.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. This has been another Martial Arts Musings. Thank you, Daniel Cashman.
Thank you.
All right. Bam.